If I was going on Medicare, I know exactly which supplemental plan I would choose. And in this video, I'm going to show you why I think it's the only Medicare supplemental plan that you need to know about. Now, though we're going to spend the majority of our time talking about supplemental plans and the one that I certainly prefer and most people prefer, I think it's good to begin with this topic right here, and that's this: the fact that most Medicare agents prefer Advantage plans. And the reason for that, and by the way, instead of saying prefer, what I should say is why most Medicare agents push Advantage plans. There's actually 4 reasons for it. Number one, because to write an Advantage plan, to sell an Advantage plan to someone is actually an easier sell because you don't have to get into a whole lot of details. If the doctor's in your network and you're either an HMO or a PPO plan, then it's an easier sell. It just is. So you don't have to go into a lot of details. Plus, it's a much faster sale. Advantage plan sale could be wrapped up in probably 20 minutes or so. Not so with a supplemental plan. It takes longer to talk about the different options and the details of those plans, but it's certainly faster for the agent. Also, Advantage plans pay a much higher commission, for sure. They don't pay, these pay much more than what a supplemental plan would pay the agent. So it's a higher commission. Plus, it's a longer commission. As a matter of fact, Advantage plans actually pay a lifetime commission. So when they enroll someone, they have a commission for a lifetime, unlike a supplemental plan that usually pays about 7 years. And so my whole point is, as I look at the reasons why agents push these, what is this all about? Folks, this is all about the agent. And why do you see so many commercials about Advantage plans? Because insurance companies make a lot of money off of them. So again, it's all about them and all about the agents. But an agent that cares about people will do this. They want to make sure that you, the consumer getting a plan, understands all your options. So again, they'll push them, but what we want to do, and I think all agents are going to be ethical, are going to make sure that you understand what you're getting and you understand how your insurance is going to work. Hey, just real quick, we often hear from our viewers that they wish that they would have seen a video earlier because they made a decision that really wasn't in their best interest, or they made a decision without having this information and it cost them financially. And we don't want that to happen to you. We upload 3 times every week, and the only way you're going to know about our new videos is if you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. We're constantly giving away brand new strategies, updates, and comparisons that you don't want to miss. So click the subscribe button below this video right now and turn on notifications so that you never miss another video. So that brings us then to supplemental plans. Now, notice what I say here, why most people prefer supplemental plans, and this would be true. Now, not all people are buying supplemental plans. Some are buying Advantage plans, but most are going to prefer a supplemental plan if they're given the option, if they're given the details of how these 2 insurance options are going to work. I will guarantee you that most people are going to prefer a supplemental plan over an Advantage plan because of some of the disadvantages that come with Advantage plans. And so that's why most people prefer them. So let me explain some of the details of why this is so. Number one, because of the ease of use. Supplemental plans are very easy to use. You don't ever have to worry about a network issue. You don't have to worry about being an HMO or a PPO plan whatsoever. They're easy to use. Anywhere in the country, you pull out your Medicare A and B card and your supplemental card, that provider that takes Medicare has to take your supplemental plan. That's why it's so easy to use. Not so with an Advantage plan. They have to agree to take the Advantage plan. But if someone takes original A and B, they will take your supplemental plan. That would be whether you are in your hometown, your home state, or you're somewhere in one of the other 50 states in the country. You pull that red, white, and blue card out, supplemental card, then it's going to work the same. So you never have to worry about those kind of restrictions that come with Advantage plans. Ease of use. Number 2, provider options. And almost, folks, I could say this, it is almost unlimited. In other words, whenever you have a supplemental plan, you can go to any provider, any hospital, any doctor, as long as they take Medicare. And that's almost all of them. Not totally. So again, it's almost unlimited. When you have, again, an Advantage plan, there's certainly going to be restrictions because of those HMO and PPO networks. The third issue with supplemental plans, why people prefer them, is there's no interference. What I mean by that, there's no interference from the insurance company. Do you realize that when you get an Advantage plan, about 72% of the services that you need are going to have to be pre-approved, pre-authorized by the insurance company, which which means they have the final say-so. If you have a supplemental plan, it is Medicare and your doctor that make the decisions. The insurance company has no say-so whatsoever. There's no pre-authorizations required by that supplemental company. So we have no insurance interference whatsoever. The fourth issue would be they are permanent and they are portable. When you get a supplemental plan, it is a guaranteed renewable for life. You pay your premium and that policy renews as long as you live. You just have to pay the premium. And so what happens? They can't cancel your supplemental plan because of age or because you have a lot of claims and you have a lot of health problems and they have to spend a lot of money on you. They can't cancel for that reason. It is truly and accurately to say permanent, and it's a lifetime policy. Plus, it's portable. That means that if you live in Denver, Colorado, and you decide to move to Nashville, Tennessee, you take that supplemental plan with you. Why? It's tied to you. It's a lifetime policy. That insurance company can't cancel it because you moved. Not so with an Advantage plan. If you live in Denver and move to Nashville, I guarantee you're going to have to get a new Advantage plan because Advantage plans are not portable. They're not tied to you. They're actually tied to a service area. All right? And so that's one of the differences. And people like knowing that once I have that plan, it's mine for the rest of my life. And even if I move, I get to keep the same supplemental plan. And then fifthly, you also get to pick your own drug plan. Now, as we compare that to an Advantage plan, when you have an Advantage plan, the company picks a drug plan for you. They embed that within the policy. And sometimes they're good and sometimes they're mediocre. But when you have a supplemental plan, you actually can pick your own drug plan based upon the medication that you take and the pharmacy that you would like to go to. And we can change those plans on an annual basis with the drug plans if we need to. If you're going to take more meds next year or less meds and you want to get a different plan, you can do so during the Medicare open enrollment season. And then lastly, there's no surprises with supplemental plans. What I mean by that, no financial surprises. Well, why is that? Well, because what happens is you're going to pay a premium for your supplemental plan, and beyond that, you may have a small deductible, but nothing else out of pocket other than the premium. So again, people like to know I can budget for this. I know exactly what I'm going to spend. I don't have to worry about a tremendous amount of money out of pocket beyond my premium. So again, no financial surprises. So that's why I'm saying when people get the option between a Medicare Advantage versus supplemental plan, if an agent would take the time to explain these two options, I will guarantee you that most people will prefer supplemental plans for these reasons. All right, that brings us then to our final slide here, where we're going to talk about the supplemental plan that most people prefer. Now, right now on the market, there are actually 10 supplemental plans. They're given letters A, B, C, D, F, G, K, L, M, and N. Now, keep in mind that most people can't get C or F. The only ones that can do that are those that were born before January 1st, 1955, which means they started Medicare, were eligible for Medicare prior to January 1, 2020. So anyone born after January 1st, 55, eligible for Medicare after January 1, 2020, then they would actually have 8 different options, all right? And so let's talk first off about the one that most people prefer today. And so that would be the Plan G. Now let me explain why. When we talk about a supplemental plan, what we have to realize is that in original Medicare, we have gaps. These are financial liabilities. These are things that you would be responsible financially. So we call them financial gaps. And so what we have with the Medicare A, which is everything that would be inpatient, hospital, skilled nursing facility, and as well as hospice, end-of-life care. That's the A side of Medicare. The B side of Medicare is everything that would be considered to be outpatient type services, as well as all doctors, whether those doctors see you in the hospital or you go to see them in their office. It's also going to be outpatient surgery, lab work, MRIs, CAT scans, also durable medical equipment, diabetic supplies, CPAP machines, oxygen equipment, scooters, wheelchairs, walkers, all those kind of things are considered to be outpatient services as well as preventive. So that's the difference between the A and the B. And so when we use these services, folks, other than preventive services, because preventive services, if it's on the list of covered preventive by Medicare, then there's no out-of-pocket cost to you. But beyond preventive, whenever we get a service, whether it's in the hospital or it's an outpatient basis, we are going to have some financial responsibility, liability. That's where we talk about the gap. And so we actually have 3 gaps over here on the A, and we actually have 3 gaps on the B. So let me explain them real quickly. So the first gap on the A side is this year a $1,600 deductible. okay? And that means that we've gone to the hospital, our out-of-pocket expense will be $1,600, and that's it. That's all the way up to a 60-day stay in the hospital. So whether I'm in the hospital 1 day, 2 days, 10 days, or 60 days, doesn't matter, I will pay my deductible. Now that deductible is not annual. That deductible can happen more than once in a year. If I'm out of the hospital longer than 60 days, and if I have to go back in after 60 days of being discharged, then I would owe another deductible. But that's all I'm out of pocket for the first 60 days. Then that takes us to our second gap, and we call these extended hospital stays. Extended hospital stays. And so what that means is, remember, this covered me for 60 continuous days. That's all I pay is $1,600. But if I happen to be in the next month, which would be a day 61 to days 90, I have a $400 a day copay that I'm now responsible for. Again, it's pretty rare it happens, but that would be month 3. Then month 4 and month 5, which would be days 91 to 150, I now have an $800 a day copay that I'm responsible for out of pocket.
Hey, my name's Josh Musick, and if you've been enjoying my dad Marvin Musick's content, you really need to go to our website, MedicareSchool.com. When you go there, you'll be given the opportunity to download a free 1-hour Medicare Essentials workshop, and it's going to take you all the way from Medicare A to Z. By the time you're done watching that workshop, you're going to know how to enroll in Medicare, when to enroll in Medicare. You're going to know the differences between Advantage plans, supplemental plans. You're going to know how to get drug coverage. You're going to know everything you need to know to get the best coverage possible. So go ahead, go to MedicareSchool.com and watch the Medicare Essentials workshop.
And then that takes us to our last gap, and over here would be for skilled nursing facility, also covered by A. Skilled nursing is after a knee replacement, could be after a hip replacement, could be after a stroke or some kind of a issue, maybe a fall or an injury or an accident. But the point is, skilled nursing is all about rehabilitation, high likelihood of recovery. They send you to skilled nursing for that intensive rehab. And so what happens is Medicare says the first 20 days they will cover everything in skilled nursing as long as we're coming off of a 3-day hospital stay or more. But after 20 days, now we have financial responsibility. So what that means is days 21 to 100, I have a daily copay of $200 a day. All right, and so those are our 3 gaps on the A deductible, extended hospital, and skilled nursing copays. Then we go to the B side of Medicare, again, all outpatient, all doctor-related services. We also have a deductible this year. It is a $226 deductible. Now, this deductible is a calendar year. That can happen multiple times in the year. So this is a calendar year, and then it resets every January, and we pay it once a year. Once we've met that small deductible, then what happens is Medicare is an 80-20 plan. Medicare pays 80, but you have to pay 20%. So that's your second gap. So if Medicare says we'll pay the surgeon approved amount $10,000, they would pay $8,000, you would pay $2,000. See a doctor and Medicare says that's a $100 doctor visit, Medicare pays $80 and you pay $20. Okay, and so that's the 20% coinsurance. And the last gap is called excess. Now what happens with excess, this is when a doctor actually adds to the Medicare approved amount 15%. So if Medicare says we'll pay $10,000 for that surgery, that surgeon who adds excess is going to get an extra $1,500, and you're the one that has to pay for it. Now the reality is most doctors don't charge excess. They say across the country on average about 1 out of 10 doctors will charge excess. But when it happens, you're responsible to pay for it. And here's my point. These are the 6 gaps in Medicare. So the plan that most people prefer today is the G plan. And the reason for that is because the G plan will cover 5 of the 6 gaps. You only have 1 gap you would have to pay out of pocket. So that G plan will pay the 20% coinsurance, pays excess, pays all of this in the hospital. The only gap that the G plan will not pay would be your once a year B deductible. That's why most people like that. Now again, we're a nationwide company. We write these plans all over the country, but right now the average of that premium right now is about $125 a month. And again, some states are going to be lower. Husband and wife go on the same plan. There can be a discount. Some states are going to be higher than that. But I just want to give you a ballpark. It's certainly not $500 a month. It's going to be right around $125. And you've basically taken all these gaps, all this liability, and you transfer that to the insurance company, and now they're going to be responsible for those gaps except your deductible. So if you take 125 times 12 months premium, that's going to be what? $1,500 that you have to pay in premium, and then you had your deductible of what? $226. So we spent $1,726 for the whole year. If you got cancer, that's all you'd spend. If you're on an Advantage plan and you have cancer in your network, you're going to spend somewhere between about $3,000 to $5,000. That's the max out of pocket. If you go out of network, you could spend anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 out of pocket. And so most people know that they get a serious illness, something happens, that they know they'll be less out of pocket if they had that supplemental plan. I want to mention one more thing and I'll close. There are some people today are getting an in plan. Okay, G is still the most popular. It's absolutely what I would do. The difference is this: on the in plan, if that's what you have, you then would be responsible for that excess charge of 15%. The in plan will not pay that like the G would. So again, you may not be going to a doctor that charges excess, but that could happen down the road. Or you go to some cancer specialty hospital, almost all of them do excess. So again, there will be a slight savings. That's going to be in the neighborhood of probably about $90 to $100 a month. So we certainly can save a little money. Some people do it for that reason, and they just will take on excess charge responsibility, because what's going to happen with that in plan is going to cover 4 of the 6 gaps instead of the G, where it covers 5 of 6. And then lastly, if you have an in plan, every time you see a doctor, you went to a specialist, you're subject to a $20 copay. So we'll save a little bit of money, but we're taking on a little bit more risk. And that's why most people, they still prefer G. I certainly would do that, but I think those that take an in plan are not making a bad decision, because they're still getting all the benefits of a supplemental plan.